A man sits behind bars, yet he can still kill from a distance. Every time Mike draws his target's face on the prison wall, that person ends up dead. This time, he says he's going to kill a hospital director, so the guards immediately lock down his cell. But the next day, a burned body turns up in the suburbs, and everyone believes Mike really has supernatural powers. The coroner doesn't buy it. She compares the victim's skull to the hospital director's records, and the match is exact. Even with that evidence, she still feels something is off. Someone outside the prison may be helping Mike kill. The inspector rushes to the prison with his team, but after checking every surveillance camera, they find nothing unusual. He brings Mike back to the station for questioning, but no matter what they ask, Mike insists he killed the director himself. Furious, the inspector kicks him. In truth, chasing the method of the murder may be exactly what the killer wants. The inspector goes back to the prison, because if Mike really has an accomplice outside, the handoff point has to be inside the prison. A guard tells him there is one outsider who regularly speaks with inmates, the prison priest, but he doesn't meet with Mike alone. He comes to pray for all the prisoners. That makes him somewhat suspicious, but not enough. Then the inspector notices something on the wall where Mike has been drawing. There's a name written there, Angel. Police quickly track down who Angel was and learn that she's already dead. But when Mike sees her photo, his reaction is completely abnormal. It's obvious something is wrong, and the coroner says they need to look into Angel. Following that lead, she and the others take Mike to Angel's grave, only to discover that the priest guarding the cemetery is the same priest who visited Mike in prison. So what exactly connects these people? It turns out Angel was an abandoned baby. The priest took her in and gave her that name. As she grew up, she caught Mike's attention, and before long, the two got married. Wanting a better life for their future child, they moved to the city to make something of themselves. Neither of them knew that would be the priest's last time seeing Angel. Now Angel is dead, Mike is in prison, and when the coroner tries to get information out of him, he gives her only one line: the game has just begun. At the same time, the inspector notices that Mike left a message on Angel's grave, following in Cain's footsteps. Cain was the first murderer in the Bible, and the man he killed was his own brother Abel. Soon a new clue appears. From Angel's autopsy report, the coroner discovers that the hospital that issued it is the same hospital where the murdered director worked, and the report was signed by that director himself. Angel's death is likely connected to him. The coroner immediately wants a second autopsy, but the inspector says that won't be easy. By law, a family member has to file the request in court. That leaves them with only one option: Angel's only living relative, the priest. While an officer is escorting the priest, a group of young men blocks the road. The officer gets out to chase them off, but when he returns to the car, he finds the priest's throat has been slit right there in public. He rushes him to the hospital, and thankfully the priest survives. But for the moment, he can no longer file the court request. And that attack only confirms one thing: there is definitely something suspicious about Angel's death. That very night, someone tries to steal Angel's body before anyone else can get to it. Luckily, the coroner saw it coming and was already hiding nearby, waiting. After a fierce fight, the inspector takes on 4 men by himself, holds his ground, and even captures one of them. Early the next morning, police move in and the prosecutor arrives to approve the operation. But when Angel's grave is finally opened, everyone is stunned. 4 full years have passed, yet her body is still perfectly preserved. The media and the crowd immediately erupt with speculation, though the coroner quickly gives a professional explanation. Then she begins the autopsy for real, and within moments, her eyes go wide. Angel was never autopsied at all, and her heart is missing. There is clearly a major crime hidden behind Angel's death, and the hospital that issued that original report is obviously involved. They immediately head to the hospital to investigate. The moment she walks in, the coroner notices that the current director is named Abel. At the same time, a new portrait has already appeared on Mike's prison wall, and it's Abel. The coroner and the inspector race to his house. They only want to ask about Angel's case from back then, but before they can even get going, Abel blurts out that they did not traffic organs. The coroner and the inspector never even mentioned organ trafficking, so he practically confesses on the spot. Before leaving, the inspector assigns people to protect him. Then the coroner goes back inside to grab the phone she left behind, only to get the feeling that someone has secretly entered the house. She goes downstairs to warn the inspector, but then a gunshot suddenly rings out from inside. They rush back upstairs and find Abel dead, while the killer is climbing out the window. They give chase, but they're too late and can only watch him escape on a motorcycle. Once he reaches a safe place, the killer finally reveals his face. It's the coroner's own assistant. Meanwhile, Mike publicly announces his next target, the person who received Angel's heart. Another clue also comes to light. Back then, after Mike and Angel finished a prenatal checkup and were heading home, they ran into a biker gang on the road. Angel's necklace was snatched, and she was thrown hard to the ground, badly injuring the baby. Seeing his wife like that, Mike charges at the attacker and starts fighting him. The man finds an opening, shoves Mike away, and runs, only to be hit by a passing bus and killed on the spot. Just then, Mike hears an ambulance behind him, but when he turns around, Angel has already been taken away in it, and Mike is later sent to prison for manslaughter. After Angel is taken to the hospital, the one operating on her is the first director who was killed. The truth is, Angel could still have been saved at the time, but that director never intended to save her. Instead, he cuts out her baby and has Mary take it away to dispose of it. But as Mary walks off with the child, she discovers the baby is still alive. Mary is the coroner assistant's daughter. Once he learns what happened to Angel, he swears on the spot that he will avenge her. But early one morning, the hospital calls with more bad news. The priest is dead. Just like that, their only lead is gone. Then the coroner suddenly realizes something. Angel's heart was forcibly transplanted, and medically, that kind of surgery has to happen within 4 hours. That means the operation was done either in the same hospital or one very close by. Now that they finally have a direction, the inspector requests a warrant from his superiors. But to his shock, he suddenly receives a transfer order instead. He can't understand it at first, but when he sees the smug smile on the dead director's father's face, he finally gets it. All the so-called accidents before this, the crash on the way to see the priest, the attack on the priest, and the attempted theft of Angel's body were all arranged by Henry. Henry arrogantly says they will never find the person who received the heart. But hearing that, the inspector smiles. He has already figured something out. Mike's motive was never simple revenge. He wanted to drag the dark truth into the open. Everyone who died had it coming, which means Mike's next target is obviously the director's father. Sure enough, Henry has already been tied up somewhere else, and when he wakes up, he sees a familiar face standing in front of him. It's the coroner. No one expected her to be the mastermind behind everything. The truth is, she and Angel had known each other for a long time. They met on a ride one day, hit it off, and became close friends. In fact, when the priest swore to take revenge, the coroner was there too. At first, they planned to go through legal channels. Grace, a nurse at that hospital, had the best chance of finding evidence, so the coroner asked her to help gather it. Grace gladly agreed, but while searching the director's office for records, she was caught when the director suddenly came back. Grace was doused in acid. The coroner was consumed with guilt, but the revenge plan moved forward anyway. First, the coroner had the priest go into the prison and brainwash Mike, making him believe God was about to punish these sinners. That's why he started drawing on the wall, though he had no idea what the real plan was behind it. Then, to avenge Angel and Grace, they brutally tortured the first director before finally killing him and dumping his body in the wild to burn into a charred corpse. As for the second director, Abel, the coroner killed him herself when she went back for her phone. She used a silenced gun and shot him dead. By this point, Angel and Grace have both been avenged, and the police still have no way to trace any of it back to them. The only regret is that the priest became an unexpected complication in the plan. In the end, the coroner's daughter gives Mike a gift. The moment he opens it, he freezes, because it's the same item he once gave Angel. And when a little girl's photo appears on the other side, Mike likely understands the full truth at last.